So, I have a confession to make. The thing that taught me how to live life the way I do is a dirty, lonely, fictional, trash-compacting robot from a 2008 Disney Pixar movie. Meet my friend, WALL-E. Now, if you haven't seen WALL-E, the movie is pretty straightforward. It starts out in a futuristic planet Earth covered in excessive pollution and trash. And so, to clean it all up, the humans made trash-compacting robots. These robots had a single reason for their existence, a sole purpose called a directive. Their only purpose in life was to clean up trash for the humans. But 700 years ago, the humans gave up and left Earth in a big spaceship called the Axiom, leaving WALL-E as the last trash-compacting robot on Earth. After 7 lonely centuries, WALL-E eventually develops a personality alongside his directive. He likes collecting trinkets that he finds in the trash. He watches old musical rom-coms in his free time. And he even yearns for somebody to hold hands with. But above all, the only thing that really matters to him was doing his job, his directive. Now that all changes when Eve comes to Earth as a scout to find signs of plant life, which is her directive. WALL-E starts crushing hard. Right, he finds a girl and forgets about everything. For the first time in his life, he found meaning in something other than his one and only job. Now Eve eventually finds a plant, gets sent back to the human ship, the Axiom, and WALL-E, clearly in love, stows away with Eve, gets swooped up into space, and travels across the galaxy just to see her again. Now, up in the Axiom, humans float around in these chairs all day, staring at screens, sipping their meals through straws. And that's when we meet the captain of the ship, who has spent his entire life in the same floating routine. Eat, sleep, and repeat. So when Eve's plant finally reveals that Earth might just be habitable again, he finally sees a chance for life to mean something more than just coasting in space. But there's a single catch. The autopilot computer of the Axiom, Otto, has his own directive: to never go back to Earth. So when the captain tries to change course, Otto blocks him and says, "Captain, on the Axiom, you will survive." And the captain answers with a line that has quite frankly changed my life forever. "I don't want to survive. I want to live." And that's when I realized that WALL-E isn't just a cute kids movie, it's a reflection of us. I mean, just like WALL-E, we all have our own directives that dictate our purpose. We go to school to get the grades, we get the grades to get the job, we get the job to make the money, and we make the money so we can survive. Yes, this is a common path, I know, and I'm on it right now. What I'm saying is that this doesn't have to be your only motivator in life. Now, don't take that as a sign to quit your day jobs. Don't do that. Don't drop out of school either. Also, don't do that. What I'm saying is that life can mean more than just this. You can find greater joy and meaning in your path. WALL-E spent 700 years cleaning up trash for people who didn't even exist anymore. I mean, yeah, he wasn't miserable, but he wasn't happy until he got swooped up into space, fell in love, and started living. We don't have 700 years. We get, 80, if we're lucky? We don't have time for our own Eve to swoop in and change everything. So, we need to be the ones to incite that change. We are in charge of making the most out of our lives. Most of us are running on programming that we didn't choose. Expectations, comparison, and fear. But we have the power to rewrite our code. We need to break our directives. So how do we break our directives? I mean, where do they come from? In WALL-E's case, his programming was installed in a circuitry when he was made. His directive is clear and explicit: clean up trash. Our directives, on the other hand, are subtle and accumulated. From your parents telling you to be realistic, or society telling you that this is what should matter to you, or that this is the optimal way to live, there is no single defining moment that actually installs the code. It's thousands of these little nudges that mold you into the person you are. So chances are, you're living a life that you inherited, not one that you chose. Now don't worry, this isn't personal failure, it's systemic programming. And oftentimes, you don't notice until it's too late. When you do follow this programming without direction, it's numb, and I can guarantee that at least once in your life, you've felt that emptiness. Time blurring together, the days feeling dull, joy and happiness no longer a priority in your life. It's silent, it's invisible, but it's there. Nothing is technically wrong, but at the same time, nothing feels right. I mean, it's not dramatic. You don't burst up into flames, you slowly fade away. That's the scary part. See, Wall-E was never sad. The humans on the Axiom weren't sad. They were enduring a half-baked life without ever realizing it. The truth is, your brain and this computer chip aren't actually that different. Yes, your brain is several orders of magnitude more complex, but think about it. Both computers and our brains take an input, process it using stored instructions, and generate an output. This little chip can be programmed and reprogrammed to do whatever you want, from turning on a light bulb to controlling a robot. Your brain is the exact same way. In fact, it's already been reprogrammed thousands of times over without you even realizing it. So, if you can take this chip and reprogram it, what is stopping you from doing the exact same thing to your brain? What is stopping you from willfully inciting substantial change in your lives? Our brain has a reward system that rewards certain behaviors that it thinks are good. It's called the dopamine loop. A dopamine loop is, in simple terms, when a stimulus ends up creating a reinforcement or a dopamine release, which then becomes a habit. All right? Stimulus, dopamine release, reinforcement, habit. You become habitually more motivated to do things your brain likes. The dopamine loop reinforces and motivates. For example, we need energy to survive, right? So eating, that's good. Expending little amounts of energy, that's good. Stimulating your brain, that's good. At the same time, the dopamine loop also regulates and develops a tolerance to too much good. If there's too much good, our brain makes it feel less good. Our brains adapt to our dopamine levels. Now, this may have worked back when we had to scrounge for food and fend off bears, but in a world of novelty, this dopamine adaptation impedes our very happiness. The food that we eat, the content that we consume, the comforts that we experience day to day, all of it creates a constant supernormal stimulus, which creates a new dopamine baseline, causing regular day-to-day life to feel incredibly bland, even when it shouldn't be. Now, however, it's not just these baselines that our brains see. It's all relative. It's not just a set level, it's contrast. Our brains process the contrast between dopamine baselines. For example, let's take monotone voices, all right? Monotone voices are inherently boring because there's very little shift in that tone. So, if I were to do the rest of this talk in a monotone voice, you'd probably be annoyed and it'd be very hard to pay attention to. A voice that varies, however, is easily picked up by the brain. Our brains process contrast. So let's say, for example, you wake up and the first thing you do is scroll short-form content on your phone. Immediately, your brain is completely bombarded with stimulation. So anything you do after that is going to feel a little boring. Since you started your day with a high dopamine activity, anything that produces less dopamine, let's say going to class or doing your work, your brain sees that difference between high dopamine and low dopamine and labels the work as dull. Now, since this entire thing operates on the dopamine loop, it becomes a habit. After days, weeks, months of using your phone the first thing in the morning, work can become almost impossible to do. And it's not just work. Your relationships, your ambitions, the reason you wake up and start your day, all of it can be blurred in this half-baked life. Most people wait for the right motivation, the right person, or the right job to give them purpose. Wall-E escaped his half-baked life when Eve fell from the sky. But real life doesn't give us robots from space. It gives us opportunity, and it's our job to seek it and chase it. If change is so easy to incite, then why do so many people spend their lives unfulfilled? Otto says, on the axiom, you will survive. Survival and safety is compelling, yes, but it's also the same exact thing that keeps us trapped. Safety without meaning becomes stagnation. You can spend the rest of your life living or surviving day to day, or you can break the loop. Tell me, if you're afraid of climbing up a massive set of stairs, what's scarier? Finally reaching the top, or staying on the same exact step for the rest of your life? Our brains are automatically designed to take the path of least resistance to maximize our dopamine levels. I mean, it makes sense, right? We're constantly trying to cut back on the energy we spend, the resources we use, the time that we take. In a world where minimization is efficient, change for the better becomes unviable and discouraged. But just because our programming is set to survival mode doesn't mean we can't update the software. Like the captain, we have to look at the routines that we've inherited and say, I don't want to survive. I want to live. We have to be the ones to incite that change. Most of us are running on programming that we didn't choose, run by expectations and fear, yes, but we can break the loop. People try and look at happiness like it's some kind of future reward, when in reality, happiness can exist in the tiniest of moments. Moments of love, adventure, curiosity, and connection. Wall-E was a trash compacting robot who spent his entire life compacting trash for people who didn't even exist anymore. Yeah, he was complacent, but he wasn't truly happy until he chose love and adventure over doing his job. We only get one shot to live, and as the seconds fly by, turning into days, weeks, months, and years, the opportunities we have to experience life to its fullest shrink perpetually and constantly. But that's okay. I mean, life having an end is exactly what gives it meaning in its first place. So, it's up to you to decide what you do with that time. You can spend the rest of it living day to day, goal to goal, or you can break the loop. You can break the loop and start living. So, I challenge you to ask yourselves this. Are you happy, or are you just complacent? Are you where you want to be in life? Are you spending each second of your day with passion and purpose? There is no right or wrong answer. A simple question is enough. Stop living on autopilot. Don't wait for graduation, a promotion, or some other arbitrary milestone to finally let yourself be happy. Let's start with this, okay? Identify a single routine in your life that you follow without questioning. Maybe it's that first morning scroll. Maybe it's that mindless hour you spend watching TV, and replace it with one intentional action that brings curiosity, joy, or meaning. Reprogram just 10 minutes of your day for a walk, a new conversation, maybe even a moment of gratitude. And I promise you, in a few weeks, your life will become just a little sweeter. But don't stop there. Do it again. Find another habit and replace that one. Seek improvement, growth, and joy in your day-to-day. Don't get stuck in the dopamine loop of doing and repeating. Find a way out of your half-baked life by perpetually chasing growth, by chasing joy, by chasing your true purpose. Now, I won't say it's easy, okay? It's going to be hard, it's going to take time, and it's going to take effort. But it's worth it. It'll be worth it. If a misfit robot can find a way to value joy over survival, then so can we. Stop surviving, start living. Because life is what you make it. So make it something worth living for. Thank you.